Okay, I think everyone's joined the room. So hello, everyone. Welcome to this virtual open day for the Ellison Institute of Technology, Center for Doctoral Training and Fundamentals of Artificial Intelligence. My name is Professor Christopher Yao, and I'm one of the co-directors of the center. And I'll be joined today by Professor David Gavigan, who's director of the Doctoral Training Center in Oxford, within which this program sits, and Professor Alessandro Abate, who's also one of the co-directors of the CDT. Dr. Melanie Witt is the program manager and moderator for this webinar, and we're also joined later by a speaker from the Ellison Institute. So today I'm going to tell you about our program and why you might wish to consider applying for this new and unique opportunity. This program is part of a wider and new strategic collaboration between the University of Oxford and the Ellison Institute of Technology. And the objective of this partnership is to utilize our respective resources and knowledge to advance the foundational principles of artificial intelligence to accelerate scientific discovery. And how will we achieve this through this program? First, our program is about nurturing the next generation of AI researchers. We're here to support our students' personal and professional development, helping them to realize their talent and potential, and to explore the kind of work that excites them as well. It's not just about building technical skills, but also about becoming more confident, curious researchers who can ask big questions and tackle complex problems. We also want to drive change, and through our partnership with the Ellison Institute, our research has a purpose to develop artificial intelligence that can make a real transformative impact across key global challenges, whether that's in health, climate, or other scientific areas that affect people's lives. The contributions can be directly related to these scientific areas, or it could be concerned with the theory and tools that are important to these areas. You'll be part of something that has a meaning far beyond academia. Next, collaboration is at the heart of what we do. You won't be working in isolation. You'll be part of a vibrant, supportive community that brings together expertise from Oxford and the Ellison Institute. Together, we're combining strengths and knowledge to push the boundaries of what's possible in AI. Our research focuses on three main areas: theory and foundations, applied fundamentals, and systems and engineering. And to help with reviewing applications, we would like applicants to specify one of these areas as their preference. It isn't a long-term commitment, but it does help us to understand where your interests are currently positioned and where you hope to be positioned at the point of application. So what do these three areas mean? If you choose theory and foundations, you are saying that you're interested in the mathematical and computational theories that underpin core learning and modeling approaches, the kind of work that shapes the future of AI research itself. If you specify applied fundamentals, you'll be someone who enjoys tackling the theoretical and methodological challenges that arise from scientific applications. This is where the fundamentals of AI meet real-world science. And finally, in systems and engineering, you'll be someone who wants to confront the new challenges that come from emerging large-scale AI systems, things like scalability, robustness, and responsible deployment. Let's talk now about how the program is structured. This is a 4-year doctoral training program, and your first year you'll take some taught courses, one, for example, covering software engineering, and one on the classical AI foundations, and the other focused on more modern approaches. You'll also complete a group project and 2 short individual research rotations. These are designed to give you a broad understanding of the field and to help you find your own research direction. Then in years 2 to 4, you'll move into your DPhil research project under the supervision of leading academics in Oxford and potentially research scientists at the Ellison Institute. You'll spend 3 years developing deep expertise in your chosen area, working towards your thesis and preparing for your next steps, whether that's in academia, industry, or something entirely new. A key feature is that our students develop their own DPhil research proposals rather than choosing ready-made research projects. We do this to encourage the development of research independence and to maximize ownership over your work. So who are we looking for? First and foremost, people who can demonstrate strong technical ability and potential, whether that's through academic performance, internships, or other research and work experience. You don't need to have everything figured out. but you should be excited by the idea of exploring AI at a fundamental level with rigorous mathematical and computational tools and methods. If you're still undecided on your specific research topic, that's absolutely fine. In fact, that's one of the strengths of this particular program. It's designed to let you explore different areas, learn from others, and discover where your interests truly lie. If you already know exactly what you want to do with a specific supervisor, there may be other programs which are better suited. But if you're open to exploring, our program is a great place to start. We're also looking for alignment with the Ellison Institute's missions. That means having interest in scientific areas such as health, energy, environment, or other global challenges where AI can make a difference. This doesn't necessarily mean directly working in these applications. It can also mean working on the theories and foundations that underpin methods and models that could be deployed in these areas. Now let's talk about the support that the CDT can provide. Every student receives a full 4-year funding package, which includes your stipends, tuition fees, and immigration costs if you're an international student. Tuition fees are paid fully for both home and international students in this program. You'll also get dedicated research and training funds to support your work throughout your studies. All training costs are fully covered in the first year, and a generous budget is provided for the latter 3. Finally, you'll have access to the EIT-led Leadership and Personal Development Program. This is a really exciting aspect of the program. It brings you together with other EIT scholars and graduates, helping you grow not just as researchers, but as hopefully future leaders in AI. So if you're passionate about pushing the boundaries of AI, if you're curious and ambitious, then this program could be the start of your journey. And I'll now pass on to Professor Gavigan to talk you through the application process itself.
Thanks, Chris. I'd just like to join Chris and welcome you all along this afternoon or this morning in some parts of the world. Thanks for joining us. So I'll just talk you through the basics of how to apply. So if you go to the university website, it's all on the graduate admissions website for the university as a whole, and the link is there. You can check the entry requirements on this official course page. As you can see, we've just put, as we go through, you'll see little boxes highlighting where you need to look. Okay, so check those entry requirements. You start your application by clicking on that apply button at the bottom of the page. And you can apply for up to 3 graduate courses in one admission cycle. That's a maximum of 2 MSc courses, but you'll be applying for a research program. So you could apply to 2 other graduate research programs at the same time as well. Okay, so how to apply. You do not need to contact prospective supervisors ahead of time. It may be a good idea to do so that you've got some idea of what they're doing. You need to talk to us about what you want to do in your application and who you might want to work with. So that will require some exploration of who's working here in Oxford and what they're working on, and also who's working at the EIT and what they're working on. You should leave the field and title of research project blank because that's not applicable because you haven't decided which project you're going to work on yet. And you should include a statement of purpose following the template provided. Now, I'll say a little bit more later about what should be included in that statement of purpose, but basically, it should explain why you want to apply to this program, why you think this program is suitable for you, how your background makes you suitable for this program, and what you hope to achieve in the future having been on this program. Again, further information is available on the website. Okay, so the basics of how to apply. You need 3 referees. You need to ensure that at least 2 of those references are received by the deadline. I'll tell you the deadline in a moment. That makes a complete application. It's obviously better for you if all 3 of your references come in ahead of that deadline so we can consider the entire application. It's a £20 application fee. There are waivers for certain groups. If you think you may qualify for a waiver, please get in touch with Mel and she'll talk you through the process. You then submit the form and you can actually update via the graduate applicant self-service if you need to update your form in the future. So key information, the program code is at the top of the page. The most important thing to note is it's a full-time PhD program. We do not accept part-time students onto the program. We expect you to be in Oxford working full-time. The length of the program is 4 years. The deadline for applications, this is the most important thing that I will say today, is 12 midday UK time on Thursday, the 8th of January, 2026. That's the final deadline and the latest deadline for almost all Oxford scholarships. So if you need funding, then you need to apply by 12 o'clock on the 8th of January. Funding, by applying to this CDT, you are automatically considered for full funding, and almost all of our offers are expected to include a fully funded scholarship. As Chris said, that's fees and stipend. We're open to applications now. That closing deadline is in January, so you can, I think we may have had our first application come in today, actually, for this year. And we're expecting to fund around 20 places. That funding is available to both home students and international students. So the strongest candidates from across the world will be considered in a single competition, and the ones that we think are the strongest, about 20, will be offered the funding and the places. We would strongly encourage you to submit your application at least 2 weeks before the deadline. Everything has to be in, so at least 2 of your references and all documents must be in by the deadline for it to be considered a complete application. So do not leave it until the last minute. Around about 45,000 applicants will apply to the University of Oxford for postgraduate degrees this year. And many of them will come in the last couple of days. If there are any glitches, you don't want those glitches to affect you. So apply early, please. And in terms of English language qualifications, there are details on the university website, but we require the highest level. Okay. So just a little bit about the interview process, and then I'll hand over to Flavio. So we're expecting interviews to be held at the end of February or early March, depending on interviewer availability. We will be in touch well before that to give you an indication of whether or not you've got an interview and when that interview would be. All interviews will be held online. Normally, there'll be at least 2 interviewers from our supervision pool, so that's 2 of our supervisors, and at least 1 researcher from the EIT. Prior to interview, we'll probably expect you to send us a short video highlighting your interest in the topic related to the EIT and the CDT. And you can, so you'll explain why you're interested in that area and a little bit about the technicalities. We'll give details when we send out invites, and expect to be asked questions on the content of that video in your interview. In some cases, you may be invited back for a second interview if there's something we didn't feel we covered adequately in the first interview. Be aware that interviews will focus on technical aspects, specifically your foundational mathematical, statistical, and computational skills. So we will be asking you about technical, mathematical, and computational issues in the interview, and expect you to be able to engage with us, and there will be experts in your area in your interview, so you can talk at a very high technical level. We'll also be exploring your appetite to engage with cohort activities, which is the basis of this program, and your commitment to innovation, solve global problems through technological advancements. Okay.
So I'll just go through a few frequently asked questions. One has already actually appeared in the box, so I'll be answering this now. Do you need to have published before you apply for this program? No, this is not a requirement. If you have published, it can form part of the evidence for your technical ability and interests. But it's not a mandatory requirement. And we will also assess applications relative to your career stage. And if you are currently an undergraduate, we will assess your application differently to someone who has graduated from their studies and maybe worked for several years. So if you have material that is, undergoing review or could be published, do consider pre-printing it on an archive website and including that as part of your application. The second question, frequently asked question, is can you undertake study part-time or remotely? This program is intended for full-time in-person study primarily. If you do have any particular circumstances which require part-time or remote study, we would recommend that you contact us for further details before you make an application to receive guidance. And finally, our third frequently asked question is if you have an unfunded offer from another Oxford DPhil program, can the CDT provide funding for it? I'm afraid not. The CDT does not provide scholarships for other university schemes. Our studentships are only for our own program.